Taisinpa löytää uuden hienon paikan pysähtyä. Näyttää tosi kivalta. Hi. I don't normally do boat tours so much. I was asked about that in one video, and I'm not going to do a boat tour even now. But we have a little bit time in here. We have a lovely backdrop, and I thought that I talk about a little bit about deck arrangements. So I have few things that I have taken into the habit and that I find that are kind of a good practices. So let's have a look at a few of those. Here we have a fenders. They are visible in the bow. They don't go anywhere because they are tied down into the rail. And what I use is this Finnish seal saw. I can check it out what it is in English. And I use that basically to hold them in, but also when I put them out. And the reason for that is that when I tie it like this, fender is on really fast, and now I can adjust the height of the fender very easily, or getting it lower by letting loose into the knot. I don't need to open the knot. And I'm using this kind of a very simple rope in here that goes flat. So it kind of grips really well in this knot. So it doesn't need to be secured. If I would use this kind of a sailing rope, then I would need to secure it. I have selected this particular rope so that it actually grips really well on the knot. So there's no core inside, so it's like a sock basically, and it goes completely flat when it's tied down. And when I put it back in boat, I use the same knot, and it's there. It stays there. I haven't got any weather where fenders would have been flying around. They have been like this few times, but they are all aboard. Second thing is that I would like to have a box here where I put my ropes, because now that the ropes are on the deck, they actually are kind of get the UV from the sun, but I don't have it, so the ropes are tied in here as well. And how I store the ropes is that when I have the reasonable length of rope, like 5 meters, you take them in and you coil them like this. So pulling it straight with your arm, and when you are bringing it back in, you twist the rope with your thumb, and it does perfect circles. And when I have this kind of long stretch of end in here, I will rotate it few times around and stick this end through the loop, and this will be now secure. It doesn't go anywhere. And I tie it down into the rail as well, so that when we are heeling, the ropes are not going anywhere. They are here secured. And then I have this long ropes that are tens of meters. see that how thick the rope is. It's like 20 millimeters. Then this would be really heavy to actually try to coil like this. It doesn't happen. So what I do is that when I have the rope extended, I threw it the wrong way around. So I made a mess. No, I don't remember that there's a loop also in this hook in the end, but there's no loop, it has a straight end. So what I do for this, I lay it on the deck and kind of loop it in here. Because the whole bunch of rope would be very heavy to handle. So it kind of stays neat, it comes open nicely and fast. When I'm going to the rocks, I don't need to kind of clear out the rope, but it's always cleared out. As you can see, there's at least 2 meters in each of the loops. So there's a lot of rope in here. Yeah, now that it's coiled neat, I have thin rope in here that I use to secure it to the deck. So that when we are heeling, this doesn't go over the side. Yeah, I think that's about what I thought to say now about the deck organization and why I have chosen this kind of an approach. As you can see, it's really secured here. We'll keep it. Then I have this other rope over there, long rope. And these are tied in. We might actually look how I do it. Let's see if I can do it on the left hand. So, taking the rope in here, taking it around, going over, taking it into the loop and pulling it in. Nice and secure, doesn't come open. Now we are waiting if the wind will really pick up or not. It should be something like 10 meters per second. Pretty soon, it might be actually, that you can see some white caps over there. So it's getting closer. It still would be a perfect sailing weather, but we went for the morning walk in here in this island and I thought that we stay here for today. This is a nice place. Yeah, the wind is slowly picking up. There's more and more white caps over there. But let's talk about halyards. How to say it? These. Not the sheets, but ropes that you use to lift sails up. And it's tied in here. Why? Why on earth? Well, you know that in every harbor there is boat or several of them that keep constant ding 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 ding. And the halyards are beating into the mast. Now it's quite windy here. Do you hear anything? No, you don't. And this is the reason. So when I tied actually outside in here into the rail, it doesn't have any chance to hit into the mast, even that it's constantly moving over there. Then the other end of the halyard. So it's actually here, and when I'm lifting it, of course it's the sail up, and then I again loop this rope same way as a bigger rope. I get it in here, and when it's tied in, first of all, I take this end that comes from the cleat and go around this loop one more time and just put it in there. And now, no matter how much we heel, my ropes are not leaving the mast, but they are staying here next to the mast. And you can have actually quite a bunch of ropes for different purposes in there. So either whether you are in the harbor, anchor or sailing, I organize them same way. Now my mast setup here is not neat and pretty, but it's functional. Yeah, I hope my voice came audible outside because it's kind of windy there, like it always is. But yeah, that's how I deal with some of the deck organization, and the reason why they are on the rail and on the deck is that I don't have boxes or hatches on the deck for putting the ropes in. I would love to have. So I'm planning to make some boxes into the bow section and into the rear, so that I can put all the ropes under the lid. Then they are not getting the UV from the sun, and it's much better. They last longer that way. This is just nice. Hanging around here in the hook. Having a cup of coffee today. And I think we are grilling some sausages in the afternoon or evening. Wind should calm down a little bit, so it's safer. Till next time. So it's dinghy time. She's actually waiting on the shore already, so it's easy. And you can see that dinghy is also secured here with the same knot that I use. So I don't use any gadgets, hooks, extra things. The only thing you need is rope. And here we have a different kind of a knot. You know what it is. It's a bowline. Let's go to see how this works out. It's kind of a windy, so camera might be falling. She notices that I'm going into the dinghy and says that I'm here, don't forget me. And off we go. We are just very short distance from the shore. It's really shallow bay, or narrow bay, and also shallow. And wind is doing most of the work here. There's actually sand bottom here, and I think I will leverage that for the swim later today. Maybe this episode is called Boat Life in the end. Day of a boat life. And I have a habit that I have this long bow rope. So I will always tie it down. Even that dinghy is completely short.
Otikko pienet päikkärit? Otikko.
Oopsie daisy. And here we go. Are you ready for the short hike? Yeah. This is actually a nice island here. And what kind of hiking boots I use? Well, Crocs. Now the center of the island is really lush. We already found some trees that form nuts over there. There was a row of them. And then the edges over there, they are really rocky, and here are really sandy beaches over here. But it's so shallow that you can actually walk to the next island. And you go a little bit, maybe a knee deep, mostly. But we go here. Yeah, this is really common sight for the Finnish people living on the countryside and close to the forests. You have this pine trees, really strong. And what we have here is that we have also juniper growing and lots of berries coming up. And we did find some interesting stones here in a morning walk. So for example, this pile, it doesn't seem natural. And then over there, far away, there's another pile that is kind of a man-made, and in the middle of them there is kind of a remains of a stone ring type of a thing. So there's a rocks that kind of form an arch, but it's broken down. So some of them have been moved. Ooh. She gives us speed. There were deer in here when we came in, and when she started barking, they of course went to the other island. And that's why the moss is actually turned around like this. So what's so special about that? But we go there to the coastline to see the waves, if there are any. Now the wind is around 9 to 10 meters per second. Not any stronger. Considering that we have sailed way stronger winds, then we don't have any reason to stay here because of the weather. I stay here because I like this place. By the way, how do you like my stabilizer now that it's into use while walking? The video is actually much more stable. I just wish I could get rid of the wind noise still. Right over there in the middle of the sea, you can see some extra falls. There are rocks over there. They are actually close to the surface. Here's a bathtub for today. It's actually quite deep. With the view. Sunset. Yeah, the average wave height is around 1 meter over there. When you look from the crest to the bottom. So not that big. And actually there was a sailboat over there. Let's go to have a look of that place over there. are making a good speed. Oh no, we start to get some drizzling here. So we need to head back to the boat. They are leftovers from stone ice age. Jätä. Ei. Ei. Höntti. Jätä. No niin. Irti. Now this is a skull of a swan. Ei ota. And she would like to have it as a toy. Yeah, let's go into the forest and back to the boat if it starts to rain. They are feathers of a swan. So there's a story in there. Mennään tästä. Hyvä. Now that's a 10 meter per second wind in Archipelago Sea. That's roughly like 20 knots, a bit over. And gusts of course can be higher in there, so we saw that average wave height in there is around 1 meter plus minus, and you could see some foam tracks actually starting to form in addition to the white caps, and that's quite clear indication of around 10 meters per second. Then when it goes to the 12 meters per second, then the foam tracks are increasing quite rapidly, and the wave height also increases. And as you could see, the rocks were quite well washed. So when the weather is like 20 meters per second, meaning 40 knots, it happens regularly every year. Actually, it might be several times every year. And then the waves are really high. Yeah, here we are at the grove. And you can see that these are some kind of chestnuts nuts on these trees. Wow. He is old. Really old. Yeah, that's a shoulder white tree. Quite big and thick. Oops, wrong way. Now we are getting to the bay again, where our dinghy is. And it's much more calm here. So the waves that are coming into the bay are only waves that are kind of turning around the corner of the peninsula. And they are smooth and calm and much smaller, so it's a good place to anchor. Now you can see these tracks over here. That goes where place where there's a low water, like a knee deep maximum, and the tracks are coming from here. Now those are not man-made tracks. They are made by, how do you say, elk? No, elk is kind of a moose, but it's a smaller deer. They have deer tracks. And usually you find then the resting places and some droppings every now and then where they are. Only problem with that is that deer are actually distributing ticks. So when we are getting back to the boat, she will get a full tick inspection, and hopefully we get most of them away at least. Yeah, the swell that is turning in here is getting slightly bigger every now and then. Or actually the boat moves every now and then to the waves a little bit higher than normal, but you can see it over there on the rocks. That the waves are actually breaking through over the rocks. Just over there, splash. So maybe this is the moment when it said that it turns to northwestern, and now it seems to blow from the west quite a bit in here. So maybe it's turning from the edge of the peninsula over there. But it should back down to the north within an hour. So I do nothing. Now there are some bigger waves coming in. It's good that I have a bridle on the chain. So the load from the anchor actually goes into the bollard and not on the winch. It seems to be just seldom that there comes bigger waves. These are quite okay, and now they start to grow. Oh, there was a big one going into the rocks. Now the boat motion is again accelerating up and down, so expecting a bigger one. There's a gust. But that's okay. I have done my dishes. I have baked some bread. Now I'm making Finnish pea soup with the sausages. It's so windy that I don't want to grill out there so that there doesn't happen any accidents. Yummy! Let's have a look how it looks here. Now we are kind of stable. There's my bridle to the chain. This is actually loose up here. Do we get any big waves now? Ooh, mistä? Hopsensa! And this is what the chain does. It softens the load to the anchor. It tightens and loosens. Now it's kind of tight. There's a wind gust. Then it kind of loosens again when the gust goes over. So it is not that strong wind here. It is just that the waves are turning from there, from the peninsula. Yeah, no need to do anything here. We go back inside, it's warm there.